Hey man, what up man? What's going on YouTube? Hey, NBA best bets for January 21st today. We got 5 games on the slate. I got 2 best bets, a lot of injury news, so maybe today's a day. Pay attention to the injuries today because there are a lot of injuries out there today. But hey, let's get into the recap of how we started off the week, yesterday's recap, and then we'll jump into this 5-game NBA slate. Let's get it. Not exactly how I wanted to start off the week. Now, last week we were up 3.6 units. Yesterday, down 1.3 units. So we can make it back up because last week we were down a little bit of the week and still ended up the week 3.6 units. Yesterday, Kyrie, though, smacks Alperen Sengun. I don't know what happened to him yesterday. He just started off that game horrible. Jared Allen has a decent game, but Cavs blow out the Suns. Little same game parlay there down in VIP. Tatum, Celtics, they get it done, but Rockets sell the job there. And then I did live bet Notre Dame there in about the first or second quarter when they were down 14-7 and got it at plus 16.5. Money. But we're here for the NBA picks today, so let's pop into this first game. Portland Trailblazers at the Miami Heat. Miami Heat, big favorites here at about minus 11 now. Hey, Jimmy Butler, all those guys healthy here. Portland Trailblazers does look like they will be down, possibly some guys. Robert Williams is questionable. I see Anthony Simons is possibly even questionable. So check out those guys before this game starts. Heat seems like everybody's healthy for them right now. So Heat, I definitely think they win this game here. Now, minus 11, I don't know if I love it, but I would have to definitely be leaning the Heat here. They just beat up on the Spurs. Spurs, as of late, kind of have dropped off, but Heat lost to the Nuggets by 20 the game before that, and really, they're kind of been unpredictable, man. If you're looking at home, some of their most recent games, even at home, they did beat the Spurs. They lost to the Nuggets by 20. They lost to the Jazz by 36, and then they lost to the Pacers by 13. So do you trust them here to cover minus 11? I don't know if I trust them to cover minus 11. I think I trust them to win. Cover minus 11, I don't know. Heat at home, defense hasn't been that great either, so you could even date back a little bit further. Against the Pelicans, they did win by 11. Against the Nets, did win by 15. Nets, not a great team. I would say Trailblazers and Nets, like kind of equivalent, but I think the Heat win. I just don't know if I'm trusting anything on a spread here in this game. And Trailblazers, I always say it, they're just such a streaky team with Anthony Simons, Scoot Henderson, Jeremy Grant now coming back. Who else is there that is a big name there? Shaden Sharp, like all those guys can either shoot 40%, 35%, 30%, and they'll barely score 190 points, or they shoot pretty well from 3 and they stay in the game. So it's just, do you trust them to shoot well is really basically how you got to feel in this game. Some player props I was looking at here. I don't trust Jimmy still. I really don't. DeAndre Ayton, or not DeAndre Ayton, excuse me. Bam Adebayo today. His point line's at, now you could pay it or get it at 14.5 and get it like minus 130 in that range. If you want to take it there and take it at that line, I mean, honestly, I don't mind it, man. When he's faced up versus DeAndre Ayton and he's played against DeAndre Ayton, he's usually hitting that line. At least out of like the 3 of the last 4 games, he's hitting that line. It's a very low line, even with Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero in the lineup. Bam Adebayo's hit that a lot at home this year. It's just if you're looking at it recently, hasn't been really hitting that. He's went under 2 of the last 3, and the one he went over, he only scored 16. And if you're even dating back the last 10, he's went over this 1, 2, 3, 4 of his last 9 games. So kind of been slumping, but I think a decent matchup here against the Trailblazers. Now, Bam Adebayo hasn't played that great versus Robert Williams, who he is questionable. Robert Williams is always questionable. He's the backup center there because there is no Donovan Clingan. So it's just going to be Bam Adebayo or DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams. So Robert Williams has kind of defended Bam Adebayo pretty well in the past. So if Robert Williams goes, maybe that scares you a little bit. If Robert Williams doesn't go, I like Bam over points today. So just got to wait on some injury news because I don't think DeAndre Ayton's going to be able to guard him. I think Bam Adebayo's rebounds at 8.5 is a weird line. I think that's very low. It's like screaming to me that I want to take the over. It's almost screaming at me too much though because 8.5 seems kind of a low line there for Bam. Assist at 3.5, I definitely lean that over, but it is at minus 160. But with Jimmy back in that lineup, they do kind of run their normal offense, and he does run a lot of like dribble handoffs, handoffs at the top of the key and stuff with Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, all those guys. If those guys hit a couple threes, there's already boom, 2 or 3 assists right there, and I'm sure he can get 1 or 2 more just off a backdoor cut or something. So I definitely like Bam Adebayo assists. Points, I even like it. And then rebounds, like I said, the rebounds line seems very low, but I lean that over too because it just seems low. That's probably my favorite player in that game is Bam. Tyler Hero, I don't mind his points or assists again. Other than that, man, I kind of prefer Bam in that game, honestly, if I'm being honest with you. We're jumping right over to this next game because I like this game a little bit more, and it's between the New York Knicks and the Brooklyn Nets. New York Knicks sitting at about 11, 12-point favorites here, about 11, 11 and a half, 12, depending on what book you're looking on right now. And Knicks are on a back-to-back. There are some injury question marks in this game. Some guys I'm going to point out, mainly for that Nets team right now. You got like Zaire Williams, some more like role players that aren't big names on that team are like probable or questionable. But the bigger name there, D'Angelo Russell, is questionable. If he goes, maybe that changes how you feel about this game. Right now, I'm telling you, I like the Nets. But Nets, if you're looking at their past couple games, man, a lot of their games have been getting smoked. I understand that. But if you're checking it, god damn it, man. Jumping over to the second game because I like this game a lot more. It's between the New York Knicks and the Brooklyn Nets. New York Knicks sitting at about 11 and a half point favorites here, and they're on a back-to-back. The Knicks are on a back-to-back. I could see Karl Anthony Towns getting ruled out right before game time, so I don't know if I'm in love with any Karl Anthony Towns props today because I feel like he could get ruled out. He just came back from an injury. He's kind of been in and out of that lineup, just came back, played a game last night, and he played 37 minutes. So I could see him possibly being sat today and not playing. Just wait for, I could see it. He's not on any injury report right now, but it could happen. For the Nets, D'Angelo Russell is questionable. That's about the only guy on the injury report here. But I'm not going to lie to you. I don't love any props in this game, but I do have a best bet in this game. It's my first best bet, and it's in this game right here, New York, or the Brooklyn Nets, plus 11 and a half. I love the Brooklyn Nets here, plus 11 and a half, and it's for multiple reasons. The New York Knicks are on a back-to-back. Since 2023, against the spread, they are 5-13 against the spread after or on no rest, on a back-to-back. So I love the Nets here now. You're going to be like, wow, you like the Nets here against, I mean, they've been getting blown out by 30-plus points. I understand that. I do agree. The Nets have looked horrible here, but the Knicks are horrible on back-to-backs. A lot of their starters yesterday played 35, 36, 37-plus minutes. So worn legs there. Brooklyn Nets, if you're looking at their losses, they're either losing to a very good team like the Thunder, the Clippers. I mean, those are the games they're getting smoked in. But look at the lineups in those games. Some of those games either don't have Cam Johnson, don't have D'Lo, don't have Ben Simmons, don't have all three of those guys. So their lineups have been kind of interchanging a little bit. But when they have Ben Simmons, or they have Ben Simmons and Cam Johnson, or they have Cam Johnson and then like all their other guys that have been kind of relatively playing and starting over the last 5-10 games, they put up some points and they hang in these games. So I like the Nets here with how bad the Knicks are on back-to-backs. I like the Nets here plus 11 and a half. So that is our first bet, is the Brooklyn Nets plus 11 and a half. And I love the spot there for them. For the total at 220, I still lean the over. I like the over a decent amount in that game because, like I said, I think the Nets can put up some points, and they get a lot of their points from the three-point range, at least over the last 10 games. And the Knicks over the last 10 games have been allowing opponents to shoot like 37+, 38+% from three-point range. So I think the Nets there, solid spot. Moving on to the third game here, Orlando Magic versus the Toronto Raptors. This spread is weird to me. The spread is weird to me. Now, I say that because the Orlando Magic are 23-21 and the Toronto Raptors are 10-32. So to see it almost to pick them is a little weird. Now, I say that to also, I got to point out this, the Orlando Magic have been getting smoked recently. Beat by 13 by the Nuggets, lose by almost 20 to the Celtics, lose by 30 to the Bucks. They beat the 76ers. 76ers have no scoring besides Maxey. Lose to the Bucks. Solid game, close game at home. Lose by 15 to the Timberwolves. Beat the Knicks, not a bad win. But we all know what this Magic strength of their team is, man. It's their defense. It is their defense. So in this game, I am kind of leaning the under here at 214. I do lean the under. Last couple matchups between these two teams, they've went under this line, and that was when Franz Wagner and Paolo and Jalen Suggs were all playing for the Magic. Magic have way less scoring. So it's really going to be Paolo here. And I always say it, Paolo's going to have to drop 25, 30 points for them to probably win. Now, Raptors defense is garbage. So I lean Paolo overs today in this game. Pretty decent. Points, rebounds, assists, I like them all over because I think if you like the Magic, you got to be trusting Paolo because he's going to have to carry that team. You saw it when it's been just Franz had to carry. When it's been just Suggs had to carry. Paolo, last couple games, hasn't had the greatest couple scoring games here going over. Like, he hasn't been having like 25 monster or 25 plus point scoring games. But He needs to do that for the Magic to win that game. Cole Anthony could also have a decent game here. I don't mind his points or assists, I think, for Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony just faced up versus the Raptors about 9 games ago in Toronto and had 11 assists. I only bring up his assists because if you are looking at that Magic team on the road over their last 10 or so games or since Paolo's been in that lineup, high usage players have been smacking on their assist lines, going way over. Paolo Banchero, Cole Anthony. Those are the 2 high usage players that over the last 5 road games, those are guys that have been having the highest usage on that Magic team. So I lean those guys over. Even though I lean the under in the game, I still feel like it's a Toronto Raptors defense. So I'm not taking the under. I wouldn't be surprised if this game's 130 to 120 later, just because how bad that Raptors defense is. And the Magic, if Paolo leads them there, I don't think it'll be that high scoring, but I still think it could go over that total. But you get my point there. High usage players, Magic, I would lean those guys over there. Cole Anthony, Paolo Banchero over assist points, all that. Next game, second to last game here, Philadelphia 76ers at the Denver Nuggets. A lot of injury question marks in this game, man. It seems like Paul George is questionable. Andre Drummond, questionable. I'm going to butcher his name, but Yabasuli, butchered that, questionable. Cody Martin, or Caleb Martin for the 76ers, he's out. I mean, you already know Jared McCain, Joel Embiid, those guys have been out. But Nuggets, Jamal Murray, looks like he is probable. Peyton Watson, probable. So those guys will go. So Nuggets are going to be full strength. I lean the Nuggets. With how they're playing right now, I think it's almost ludicrous to want to fade them or go against them. Now, this spread is big. 13.5 does seem like a decent amount. I'm not going to lie. Because that Nuggets defense still does allow 120 points, 110 plus points some games, but they've been just putting up 130 plus points against everybody. So they've just been outscoring teams, and the other teams can't hang with them. I think if that happens today, I think I could see the Nuggets just destroying them. I lean the Nuggets here. They have covered the spread in 7 of the last 10 games. If you're looking last couple games where they've been double-digit favorites, they were a double-digit favorite against the Nets. They were 14.5-point favorites, covered that. If you're looking 10.5-point favorites against the Jazz earlier, covered that. Did not cover minus 11.5 versus the Wizards. I think, if I'm not mistaken in that game, I lied. Jokic did play. But every time they've been big favorites here in this year, they're above 500 ATS against the spread when a double-digit favorite. I lean the Nuggets. There's a lot of props in this game I really do like, but since they've kind of been getting healthier, Peyton Watson's been, he's been playing, but Aaron Gordon been back. It's really hard for me to like a lot of these props. I'm going to point out some guys here for just now that Aaron Gordon's back, it's kind of thrown a wrench into why I'm not liking some of these overs as much. Russell Westbrook. When Aaron Gordon was out, Russell Westbrook was crushing. If you go look, since Aaron Gordon's came back in that lineup, Westbrook really hasn't had his typical, you know what Westbrook can do, but he's not putting up 15 points, 12 plus points. He's not putting up more than about 5-6 assists, and he's not really grabbing that many rebounds. So since Aaron Gordon's came back, they kind of both play that same position. Now, Russell Westbrook's definitely more of a point guard, but they both like to play that dunker spot there. Aaron Gordon definitely plays that dunker spot for the Nuggets. It's kind of thrown a wrench there. Michael Porter Jr., you're going to look at it. Today's point line's 14.5. Last 3 or 4 games, it's been kind of low. His point line's opening up at 14.5. That seems really low when he's averaging 18.2 points a game this year. If you look at his game log at home, he's hit that line like 80+% of games at home this year, Michael Porter Jr. So it's going to seem like a sweet spot. He's hit it versus the 76ers, Michael Porter Jr. has. So 14.5, he's hit that a decent amount versus 76ers. I lean his over, but it's just like, it's a lot of weird, when you are looking with Aaron Gordon in the lineup this year, Michael Porter Jr. hasn't been having his typical 20-plus point scoring games. It's like Aaron Gordon has kind of changed where those points get distributed, and he doesn't even average that many points, Aaron Gordon. But it's just kind of thrown in a little bit of a wrench on some of these lines for these other guys because Aaron Gordon's back. But I do lean the over in this game just because the Nuggets have been putting up crazy points, and I like a lot of those Nuggets guys kind of over. I just think you got to pick one of them and go with them. But that game could be a blowout, but I don't like any 76ers players there. Paul George, questionable, kind of still waiting there. Tyrese Maxey's line's really high at like 29.5. I would maybe even lean his over because I think Nuggets defense isn't that great, and I think he just needs to shoot well. Honestly, that's all he needs to do. The last game on the board does involve my second best bet, and it is a player prop. But Washington Wizards here versus the Lakers. It's going to sound crazy, but I do lean the Wizards. The Lakers, they don't beat a lot of teams by 10-plus points, and I think Wizards do kind of have some revenge narratives, not even revenge narratives, but Kyle Kuzma going up against his old team here. Kyle Kuzma's had some good games versus the Lakers, but Jordan Poole going up into LA. Jordan Poole in road games has a lot of games scoring 20 plus points. Going into LA, I feel like he's going to want to ball out for the baddies. So I lean Jordan Poole over points, over PRA, all that. I think he's probably going to get up the volume in LA there. Like I said, he's probably going to be balling for the baddies in LA. He's had 2 monster games versus the Lakers since joining the Wizards. So scoring like 25 plus points. So I lean Jordan Poole over there. Lakers, honestly, my favorite player prop would probably be Austin Reeves over points, over assists, over PA, over PRAs, everything for Austin Reeves. Kind of pick and choose which one you like here. Now, Austin Reeves assists at 7.5 today. That may scare you a little bit because last 2 games had 3 assists and 3 assists. Now, last game only had 3 assists versus the Clippers. Clippers, very good defense. Go look at other teams and see how many players are really hitting 6, 7 assists versus the Clippers. It's not very many. So I'm not surprised that Austin Reeves only had 3 assists last game. Against the Nets, had 3 assists, but he dropped 38 points. Had 23 shot attempts. So that's kind of the thing with Austin Reeves right now. He could go out there and drop 30 points, only give you about 4 assists, so he doesn't even come close to the assists. So maybe you just like his PA kind of involved there. But at home, Austin Reeves has been crushing this line, man. At home, 3 assists versus that game in the Nets, I just told you, but dropped 30-some points. 14 assists versus the Heat, 8 assists versus the Spurs. Did have a game only having 6 assists versus the Hawks, but scored 20 points, had 7 rebounds. 11 assists versus the Trailblazers, 10 assists versus the Cavs, and 16 assists versus the Kings. All those games, LeBron played. Now, AD, I don't think played a couple of those games, maybe missed one of those games. But you get my point. Like, I think for plus odds, I lean Austin Reeves over assist there, over PA, all that there. Now, my second best bet does involve Kyle Kuzma. Now, it's not Kyle Kuzma points because I can't trust Kyle Kuzma points because this man could go out there and shoot horrible. He has been having games this year, not even playing more than 25 minutes. But he's also had some games not really shooting real well, 3 for 15 from the field. I've backed Kyle Kuzma over his tenure there at Washington and with the Wizards, and he's either crushed for me, scoring 30 points, or he shoots horrible, and it's just a roller coaster watching through that game. But I like Kyle Kuzma over 5.5 rebounds here. He's hit this every game of his career versus the Lakers since leaving, having 7+ rebounds in all of those games. But if you are checking his last 10 games, last 13 games, he has went under this 9 of the last 13. So over the last 13 games, whoever they go up against, he's went under at 9 of the last 13. Now, a lot of those landing on the hook of 5. A lot of those games landed on the hook of 5. But when you are just checking this year when he plays on the road and just plays 25 to 33 minutes, I'm not asking for 38 minutes. I'm just asking 25 to 33. He's hit this line 4 of 6 on the road and getting those minutes. So I like the spot for him here when he's cleared it by multiple rebounds versus the Lakers. And he hits that line even when playing that 25 to 33 minute mark, which is all I'm hoping for, man. So Kyle Kuzma over 5.5 rebounds there versus the Lakers. That is my best bet in that game. And that basically rounds out the NBA slate there. 5 NBA games today, 2 best bets. Have a couple more in VIP, but it's not a crazy day, man. 5 games. I think you got to pick and choose your spots here because there's a lot of player props that make sense, but a lot of big spreads today. A lot of big spreads. So pick and choose wisely. Let me know in the comments if you made it this far. Let me know in the comments if you like any of these plays today. If you're tailing any of these plays, drop a like, hit that big red button, man. We're running up the journey over here on YouTube, and I want you guys to be along for the journey. If you guys have been enjoying the content, let me know, man, because that's what's going to keep on. We're going to keep on rocking out. Every NBA game day, every NBA game we're going to go over. Let's keep on running it up. Let's get the 2-0 sweep today. Let's go.